Hey everybody, this is Kyle Tucker Lawncare. I wanted to make a video today talking about what I'm using in my winter pre-emergent mix. I'm actually using 3 different products here, and I'm going to get into the labels of all 3 of these. I started spraying these products January 2nd at the new year, and I'm using all 3 of those in this mix, and I'm probably going to take this spray round through the end of March. But let's get into the labels of these 3 products. All right, so the 3 products that I'm using are Prodiamine, Simazine, and then a 3D herbicide. This is a broadleaf weed control. I'm going to start off with Prodiamine here. So the active ingredient in this is actual Prodiamine. There are some other products out there that you can use. Resolute is an off-brand product of this with the active ingredient Prodiamine. But let's get into the label here. So this time of year, we are trying to prevent crabgrass. That's the main type weed that we're trying to prevent. So today is February 3rd, but I've been using this mix here since January 2nd. So if you get pre-emergent out right now, this time of year, I promise you, you will not have any crabgrass in your yard. But this is the product that does it, Prodiamine. So get some Prodiamine on your yard. You still have time to do this, but there's just a short window left. So you don't want to wait too long to get your pre-emergent down, because then your crabgrass will germinate. So just a few key points here in the label of Prodiamine. I just tore the labels off here. It's just easier to look at. And I triple rinse the containers and poked a hole in the bottom of it and disposed properly. But just a key point here, temperature and humidity. When making applications in hot and dry conditions, make sure you use droplets, larger droplets, to reduce the effects of evaporation. So basically in high humid areas, you don't want your droplets to be really small, because then they just evaporate in the air. So make sure you're using the right tip for these products. Wind is another main concern. Don't spray if the wind is over 10 miles per hour. When using Prodiamine in your tank mix, you can mix them with other certain, EPA registered herbicides. So I've got 3 here that I'm mixing together, and you can do that. So these do mix well together, and it's a great little mix. Weeds controlled by Prodiamine. So I want to get into this, make sure I'm looking in the right area here. So I've marked off a few here, the type of weeds that are controlled with Prodiamine. I live in central Alabama, and these are just some of the common weeds that we see here. But the main one that we're trying to target is crabgrass. But this does help with chickweed, common and mouse ear chickweed. Foxtail, goosegrass, henbit. Henbit's already starting to pop out. If you didn't do a good fall pre-emergent, you're already seeing some henbit. Oxalis, here yellow wood sorrel, that is also oxalis. Spurge. So Prodiamine covers a huge variety of weeds here. This is a great product that I've used for years. Again, if you don't want to use the name brand Prodiamine, there are some off brands, but the active ingredient, make sure that is Prodiamine. And like I said, we're trying to prevent crabgrass. So here's a neat little map here. Crabgrass seed germination dates. Here, basically this is, I live in Alabama, kind of central Alabama. So your crabgrass germinates after March 20th. So you want to get your pre-emergent down by March 20th. So let's talk about the mixing rates here. The main type of grasses that I treat are zoysia grass and Bermuda grass, but you can see here you can spray this on other types of lawns. Fluid ounces of product per 1,000 square feet. There's a range here, so a ½ ounce to 1.1 ounces. This is your mixing rate. So you can do a split application with this, but this is the maximum amount rate of Prodiamine per calendar year. Okay, so you can do a split rate, but as long as you don't go over that 1.1 fluid ounces of product per 1,000 square feet in the calendar year, you're still safe. So I do a 0.37 ounces, and I do that as a split rate. So with both of those, you know, I do one in January, and then I try to go back in March for the second application. But doing a 0.37 ounces rate, I'm still good. I'm still under that 1.1 rate there. So Prodiamine can be applied more than once a year as long as the total amount applied is not greater than the maximum application rate for each turf species. So that's exactly what I just talked about there. So you can spray Prodiamine after overseeding your turf. I don't like to do that at all, but here it is. It says it on the label. Wait 60 days after seeding or until after the second mowing. So whichever is longer before applying Prodiamine. I mix up these other products with Prodiamine. So these labels didn't say anything about overseeding, but if you're just spraying Prodiamine, you can spray this on an overseeded turf lawn. Let's see if I highlighted anything else there. I think that's all I wanted to talk about with Prodiamine here, but it's a great product. If you get this down, you won't have any crabgrass at all, I promise you. So I mix Simazine along with that. Simazine is a great pre-emergent. Let's get into the label here. It's kind of windy today, which is why I'm making this video and not spraying in the wind. There we go, Simazine, for use only on warm season turf grasses. So this is for Bermuda grass, centipede grass, St. Augustine, and zoysia grass. Annual weeds that are controlled, annual bluegrass. Now, look, you should have done a fall pre-emergent already to prevent, and my label's trying to blow away, to prevent your POA. So if you didn't get a fall pre-emergent out, you're already starting to see poana in your yards. But Simazine actually has a little bit of a kickback on early stage POA. So the very early stage poana, if you spray some Simazine on that, I've seen it with my own eyes, it'll yellow up those early stage POA weeds that are in your yard. Now, once the POA is fully grown, Simazine won't do anything for that. But this does have a little bit of kickback on POA. Other annual weeds that are controlled with Simazine, common chickweed, crabgrass also. Now the Prodiamine works best on crabgrass, but I feel like this is a good duo to make sure you don't have any crabgrass. Foxtail, goosegrass, henbit, so kind of the same weeds that Prodiamine. Some people would say this is a little overkill going with Prodiamine and Simazine. But I've been doing this for years, and I think it's a good little combination mix. So I also mix up a 3D herbicide. This is just your broadleaf weed control. Active ingredients is, you know, just 3D herbicide. This will work on really any broadleaf weeds. I've been using this also for years. There's different variations of 3D products that you can use. Weeds controlled by 3D. There you go. It's just a whole bunch of them here, but it will knock out pretty much any broadleaf weed that you can think of. Again, as a reminder, don't spray pre-emergent in winds greater than 10 miles per hour. So here's the rates on 3D. 1.1 to 1.5 ounces per 1,000 square feet. Okay, so I usually just go with that 1.1 rate there. Here are the type of grasses that you can use this on: Bermuda, zoysia. Look, it's even good on fescue, Bahia grasses. But anyway, I use that 1.1 ounce rate. So the label here says you can go up to 1.5 rates. Today is February 3rd, and it is 77 degrees today. 2 weeks ago, we were in the 30s. We had highs 35 degrees. Today, it's 77 degrees. So you have to be very careful of using that high rate in the heat. Okay, even 77 degrees, you know, that's not hot, but you can tip burn some lawns even when this time of year the grass is dormant. But as the grass starts to green up, you got to be careful at mixing that high rate. I found that the low rate of 1.1 is perfect. It does a fantastic job on weeds without tip burning your lawn. Anything else I highlighted there? So anyway, those are the 3 products that I use, Prodiamine being the main one. Simazine does have some off-brand products here. Princep is a good off-brand product. The active ingredient is Simazine. So these are just the name brand products that I use, but just do some shopping around. You might be able to save some money going with off-brand products as long as the active ingredients are still Prodiamine and Simazine. This is a fantastic mix along with some 3D herbicide. Have yourself a great winter, great February. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.